I have some more riddles for you today. Let's start with the easy ones for a warm-up. Can you find the odd one out? Yep, here it is. Here's another one. Find an odd one out here then. Perfect, here it is. How about this one? Right here. Did you find it? And it's getting harder. What about the odd one out here? Look, it's this one. All the other hands are the right ones, and this one is the only left hand. Now I'll show you two pictures. Your task is to find 5 differences between them. Ready? Here they are. How many did you spot? Let's do it one more time. Find 5 differences here. Keep your eyes wide open. So did you manage to do it? I think you're now prepared for more hardcore tasks. Let's start with decoding. Detective Callum has been searching for a missing girl, Riley, for 3 weeks. He was in his office going through the case for the 100th time when he got an anonymous email saying, "Can you guess what's written here?" It's just written in reverse order. If you read it from right to left, the message turns into, "The girl is in a hidden room beneath the Central Cafe. Bring $500 and I will tell you the passcode." Someone robbed a bank, and Detective Callum was leading the investigation. There were 2 robbers, but the police managed to catch only one of them, Dante. Dante refused to name his accomplice, but the police had 3 suspects, Bree, Ivory, and Ronan. Detective Callum took a brief look at them and knew exactly who the second robber was. Who was it, and how did he know? It's Ivory. Look, she has the exact same tattoo on her wrist as Dante. Holland went to work and asked her boyfriend, Kyler, to walk the dog. Kyler agreed, but then his friend called him and suggested to come over to play a new video game. So, Kyler decided to skip the dog walk and went straight to his friends. Holland and he met right outside the house when they were both going back home. Kyler said that he'd walked the dog and then went to play with his friend. But Holland knew that he was lying. How? It's winter. So just look at the footprints. There are Holland's footprints on the snow going both ways, and Kyler's footprints going both ways too, but there are no footprints of the dog. Someone in a little town was stealing bicycles. Every time someone's bike was stolen, the owner would find a business card with 2 emojis printed on it. The police had 3 main suspects, Ocean Walker, Rebecca Smith, and Damian Jones. Who is the robber? The emojis signify the name. They are a wave and a person walking, so the robber must be Mr. Ocean Walker. On Wednesday, after a break, Nash came to his desk and found a short love note written in red ink. It wasn't signed, but Nash had 3 girls in mind, so he asked each of them if she had written him the note. Layla said that she'd been chatting with her friends and didn't write any notes. Dawn said that she was busy all break finishing her homework. Oakley said that she had been in the bathroom and had just come back. Who do you think wrote the note? Look, Oakley's hands are covered in ink. It's blue ink, but still. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Adley was kidnapped and woke up in a dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but they all looked dangerous. Behind one door, there were many little robots that were ready to attack her. Behind the second door, there were 3 trained tigers. Behind the third door, there were 3 big and very hungry dogs. Which way should Adley choose to get out safely? The best choice must be the first door. Although they're robots, they're still super small and probably can't cause her much harm. Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone had stolen all the money from the cashier's desk. A cook said that he was working in the kitchen and didn't have any free time. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't see anything. The waiter said that there was a suspicious visitor peeking around. Who do you think stole the money? The restaurant was still closed and there couldn't be any visitors, so the waiter must have lied and is probably guilty. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not to let suspicious people or folks under 21 in. Take a look at ID cards and help him decide if he can let each visitor in or not. Here's the first one. What do you think? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, here's the next visitor. What do you say? June 31st does not exist. There are just 30 days in June, so nope. What about this guy? Something is wrong once again. Even though February 29th theoretically exists, there was no February 29th in 1977. It's every year that can be divided by 4. Okay, what do you think about this girl? I don't see anything suspicious about her. Here's another candidate for the club. What do you think? Well, he is 22, and he seems fine to me. Let him in. A student was having an oral chemistry exam and was struggling with his last task. His professor decided to help him and have some fun, so he said that instead of the task, the student could guess his daughter's name. He only had one guess, but there was a hint. He wrote down several numbers: 32, 10, 14, 16. What's the professor's daughter's name? It's a chemistry class and chemistry professor, so there must be something related to chemistry. Look, there's even a periodic table in the background to help you. The 32nd element is germanium, or Ge, and the 10th one is neon, or Ne, and the 14th one is silicon, or Si, and finally, the 16th element is sulfur, or S. Together, they form the name Genesis. A bank was robbed, but they couldn't find the robber. A week later, at night, Detective Callum woke up from a call from a local shop's owner. He said that he found the money under his terrace. Detective Callum arrived, but there was only half of the money stolen. The man said that he had seen a man by his shop a week ago. It was a full moon, so he could see that the man had red hair and was wearing a dark hoodie. Still, the shop owner was arrested. Why? The shop owner said it was a full moon a week ago, but look, it's a full moon right now, so the man must be lying about something. In history class, students were asked to prepare a presentation about their ancestors. Edwin told about his great-great-grandpa who moved to New York and started as a salesman and then built a huge business. He even showed a photograph of his young grandpa in New York, but no one believed Edwin's story. Why? Even though the picture is black and white and looks old, old New York looks very much like modern New York, with dozens of skyscrapers. The class noticed and figured out that it definitely wasn't a real photo. Royce called the police and reported that someone had robbed his house. Detective Callum arrived and asked Royce to tell exactly what happened. Royce said that he had walked into his room and saw someone getting out of the window. It was still open because Royce didn't care to close it or touch anything before the police arrived. He checked his wardrobe and found that his savings had been stolen. Detective Callum closed the case. Why? The robber couldn't go out the window without stepping on the bed, but the bed is perfectly made, so it looks like no one was leaving through the window. Kaya was studying in the library. She went to the bathroom and left her things on the desk. When she returned, she found that her wallet had been stolen. She called the police and they interrogated the 3 students who were also in the library. Andre said that he had left the library right after Kaya to get a drink from the vending machine and hadn't touched any of her things. Poppy said that she was studying the whole time and not paying attention to anything. Rhea said that she was in the other part of the library looking for a book she needed and hadn't seen anything suspicious either. Who stole the wallet? It was Andre. He said that he had left to get a drink in a vending machine, but look, there's no drinks in the vending machine, only snacks. A young man named Colton was living with his best friend Cassidy. One morning, he called the police because Cassidy wasn't breathing. He said that he'd been working all day and had returned home late, so he hadn't seen her or talked to her for over a day. In the morning, he found her in bed like that. Last night, Cassidy had a headache and had to take many pills, so maybe that was the reason. Colton was immediately arrested. Why? Colton obviously didn't communicate with Cassidy, but he still somehow knew what she was doing in the evening. He must have come up with all of it, as he is probably guilty.
Look at this picture. Can you spot which woman plans to go home by bus? This woman left her coat in a car, while the second woman is probably waiting for the bus. Can you identify which woman has spent more money on her home than the other, just by looking at their rooms? This room belongs to the woman who spent less money. She bought her furniture at a big discount. Look, you can still see price tags here. Kelly, Jackie, and Nancy are having weddings on the same day. Can you spot what dress is the most expensive? Although Kelly's dress looks fantastic, it's several sizes larger than she needs. She must have bought it at a sale, and there were no other sizes left. There are stains and holes on Jackie's dress, so it must be secondhand. Therefore, Nancy's dress is the most expensive. Let's check how good you are at spotting small details. Which bill is fake? This bill has an obvious mistake. What about these two? Can you spot a fake? This one. The portrait doesn't belong here. What about euros? Can you see any difference? This bill is fake. Its design doesn't match the original. Now check these bills. This one is fake. Look at the words. They don't belong here. Diana is a young and ambitious entrepreneur. She wanted to find investors for her business project, but she spent all her savings on research and didn't have enough money even to afford a ticket for a business conference. So she climbed through the toilet window. The conference manager caught her on camera and sent a guard to one of the rooms where Diana might be hiding. Help the guard determine which woman is Diana. Look, this lady's the only one who doesn't have a conference bracelet on her arm. A police officer noticed a criminal getting out of a window. The officer followed the criminal, but he was running too fast and managed to hide in one of the neighboring houses. Help the police officer identify where the criminal is hiding. There are no fresh traces around this house. No one walked around it for a while. There's a family in the second house. It would be impossible for the criminal to blend in. So, the criminal is probably hiding in the third house. Look at this house very attentively. How many ghosts do you see? That's right, 13. Susie decided to do a huge cleaning in her house. When her brother Tom returned from the gym, he screamed, ran out of the house, and began to dig in the garbage. Susie has accidentally thrown out his stuff that he still needed. Help Tom find these items in the trash. That's right, here they are. George and Vera went to a flea market. They are looking for a certain antique lamp as a gift for their grandmother. Help them make the right choice and avoid cheating. This lamp fully corresponds to the photo they have. Can you spot a ghost at this stage? It's hiding behind the curtain. Fred got a puppy and brought it to his home, which he shared with 4 other people. 6 months later, Fred left for a weekend to visit his parents. When he returned, the puppy was gone. He questioned his roommates. Lily said she had spent the entire weekend at her boyfriend's place. Jack said he'd been allergic to animals and couldn't stay around them even for an hour. Henry, who was to take care of the puppy, just couldn't find the pet in the morning. Who's lying? Jack. How did he live with the puppy for 6 months with his allergy? Can you guess the country? China. Can you guess the country? That's right, it's Belgium. Can you guess the country? It's Spain. Can you guess the country? Japan. And one more. Can you guess this country? That's right. That's Iceland. Lisa and Mia are 2 sisters who usually spend their vacation together on the beach because they adore surfing. But this time, they decided to go on a secret snowboarding adventure in the mountains right after Mia's birthday. The sisters didn't say a word to their family and friends. Soon after, they arrived at the ski resort. They disappeared. The police examined the car and found some gifts for Mia. Which gift is suspicious? Leah's gift is suspicious. Nobody knew that the sisters had headed to the ski resort. Can you read this quote? It says, either you run the day or the day runs you. Tim woke up in a creepy house. The Wicked Witch was making a potion in the kitchen. She saw Tim and said, "Here's my dinner. Take a seat. I'll be back in a minute." Tim began to look for the exit and found 3 doors, but there's something dangerous behind each of them. A hungry wolf hid behind the first door, an evil vampire was standing behind the second door, and the third way was covered with fire. Help Tim escape safely. He needs to grab the garlic and walk through the second door. Garlic will scare away the vampire. Jill and Christy were jogging in the street. Suddenly, a taxi drove past and splashed both of them all over with water from a muddy puddle. The ladies decided to finish jogging for today, said goodbye, and went to do some laundry. Look at the picture attentively. Can you spot who of the 2 ladies is rich? Jill is rich. Her clothes say Prada, while Christy's clothes say Brada. Can you see any number in this picture? It's 217. See? Well done! Jake threw a birthday party for his brother Gregory, but when he went to the kitchen to grab the cake, he saw a creepy note in the fridge which said, "There's a ghost at your party." Jake ran to the living room to check the guests. Can you help him spot the ghost? This woman over here doesn't stand on her feet. Can you read this? It says Matrix. Jane woke up in a creepy laboratory. A mad scientist said, "I'm gonna let you go if you make the right choice," and showed her 3 doors. But each door hid danger. Behind the first door, she saw poisonous gas that will make her unconscious in 5 seconds. The second door hid acid that burns everything out in 5 seconds. And the third door hid a pool with water infected with a dangerous virus. Which door should Jane choose? The third door. She can walk across the water on her high heels without touching the water. Look at these people. Can you place an apple in such a way so all the people but one see it? Where do you place the apple? Do you see any secret spots in the room? You have 10 seconds to figure it out. You don't need any special spots to fulfill the condition. Just place an apple on someone's head. Let's have a brief personality test. Can you see any weird elements in this picture? What detail did you notice first? A snowman holding a mug with a hot drink in its hand. B, a skier wearing a diver's costume and mask. C, a peacock hiding in the snow-covered trees in the background. If your choice is A, you're probably a very practical person. You have the talent to create a cozy and beautiful environment for your friends and family. If you choose B, you're smart and witty. You know how to invest your money and time wisely and dedicate yourself to really important things. And if you spotted the peacock, you're probably attracted to mysticism and art. You have a great imagination and unusual talent to see the details that other people don't see. Let's play a brief game. Answer these questions and see the results at the end. Would you rather have tattoos all over your body or have piercings all over your body? Option A gives you 10 points, and option B gives you 20 points. Would you rather breathe with fire when you speak or breathe ice when you speak? If you chose A, give yourself 20 points, and B brings you 10 points. Would you rather have your own spaceship or have your own planet? 20 points for A and 10 points for B. Would you rather have none of your dreams come true or have all of your dreams come true at once? Option A brings you 10 points and option B 20 points. Would you rather laugh uncontrollably when sad or cry uncontrollably when happy? 10 points for A and 20 points for B. You're very responsible but anxious, or you live one day and trust your instincts. 10 points for A and 20 points for B. Do you care deeply about everything around you, or do you act and win without any doubts? 10 points for A and 20 points for B. You're ready to fight your corner, or you never show when you're hurt. 20 points for A and 10 points for B. Now, let's count your results. If your score is between 80 to 120 points, you have a calm and grounded personality. You can settle any conflict and bring peace, which is why your friends love you very much. It seems like you were born to lead, be responsible for others, and make things done. 120 to 160 points, you love adventures, and adventures love you. People admire your bright personality, even if they don't show that. A job in the field of entertainment, art, and tourism will be the perfect choice for you.
There was an incident in a secret laboratory. One of the scientists released a substance that turned people into vampires. Detective Reed arrived at the scene to interview 3 witnesses. The first scientist, Michael, said, "I stopped by the lab this morning to pick up some notes. The machines were working just fine, and I didn't see anyone. I took the papers and left." The second scientist, Lindsay, said, "I closed the lab at night. One of the PCs was faulty, but I was very tired and decided to leave it till the morning. Unfortunately, I overslept." And the third scientist, Jennifer, said, "I got up early and went to the lab to check the devices. No one seems to have entered the room. I fixed one of the computers and left." Which one of them was lying? Michael is lying. One of the computers was actually faulty, and Jennifer spent the whole morning fixing it. If Michael had walked into the lab, he would have known about it, or Jennifer would have noticed him. So he must have entered the lab after the others had already left. But why would someone release such a dangerous substance? Michael didn't want to confess, so Detective Reed decided to investigate the crime scene to find out who was behind this. Take a look at this picture. Is there anything suspicious? It looks like Michael dropped an ID card. And look, it doesn't belong to him. The name on the card is George Wilson. Let's ask him about the incident. Detective Reed went to Mr. Wilson's office to ask him about the incident.
"Oh yeah, I gave my pass to Michael," Mr. Wilson said. "But that's only because I had left something in the lab. My glasses. I didn't have time, so I asked Michael to pick them up."
Well, that's not a very clever excuse, but how can you prove the man is lying? There's an open glasses case on the table, and the glasses are inside. But Mr. Wilson, didn't you say that you left them in the lab?
"Oh, did I say my glasses? Sorry, I meant my papers. I made this mistake because I asked my secretary Shirley to look for my glasses yesterday."
Find something to prove Mr. Wilson is lying. There's a calendar on Shirley's desk. Yesterday was her day off. It's marked red. Mr. Wilson is lying. Mr. Wilson was arrested, but people have already begun to turn into vampires. Can you guess who's actually a vampire? The woman on the right. She's putting on her makeup, but do you see? She isn't reflected in the mirror. Meanwhile, those who haven't turned into vampires gather everything they might need to survive. Which of these people is more likely to stay alive? All these supplies won't protect the guy on the right from vampires. As for the girl on the left,
She stocked up on what she can to defeat the vampires. She has a higher chance of survival. Let's check out the subway. There are 2 women here. Which of them is not pregnant? The girl on the left is not pregnant. Look, her belly is of a very strange shape. That's because she has hidden her survival supplies under her clothes. Vampires decided to throw a party. Who among those present is actually an undercover human? The guy on the left is a human. He's wearing makeup and false teeth. Nikki is also trying to survive. She packed her things and decided to move to a neighboring town. But suddenly, a vampire charged at her car. He damages the vehicle and takes away some supplies. Fortunately, he doesn't manage to bite Nikki. She escapes. Nikki has to stay home. The next day, a young man knocks on her door and asks for help. Is it okay to let him in? Nope. He has the same scar on his cheek like the vampire from the day before. Nikki continues to hide at home. One day, some girl starts knocking on her back door. Please help! A pack of vampires is chasing me! Nikki opens the door. The girl is out of breath, but she manages to say, They're almost here. Can I come in? Is it safe to let her in? No! This girl is a vampire. Anyone in this situation would immediately run inside the house, but vampires can't come in without an invitation. Nikki was checking her house and suddenly noticed that there was someone in the attic. She approached the shadows. It was a father and daughter. Please don't kick us out. Sorry, we snuck in without permission. We've been trying to hide from the vampires. The father said, Is it safe to let them stay? Yes, firstly, they're sitting in the sun, but their skin seems to be okay. Secondly, they managed to enter the house without an invitation. That means they're humans. Nikki let them stay. Let's take a little break. Time for some quick riddles. Think fast. A vampire lived in a 1-story black cottage. He had a black cat, a black fish, a black computer, a black armchair, a black desk, and a black phone. Everything was black. What color was the staircase? There was no staircase in that house because it was a 1-story cottage. 3 vampires are walking fast. The first vampire says, 2 other vampires are walking behind me. The second one says,
1 vampire is walking behind me, and 1 is walking in front of me.
And the third one says, 2 vampires are walking in front of me, and 2 are walking behind me. How is that possible? These vampires are walking in circles. Humans, vampires, and werewolves gathered in one mansion. There are as many werewolves as there are vampires. There are as many vampires as there are humans. How many creatures are there if 3 of them are werewolves? There are 9 creatures in the mansion, 3 werewolves, 3 vampires, and 3 humans. Now let's go back to Nikki and her adventures. Nikki, Peter, and his daughter Becky decided to go to another town together. It takes 2 days to get there. They drove all day until night fell. Now they have 3 options. First, they can continue driving until the morning, despite the fact that they may meet a lot of vampires along the way. Second, they can spend the night in the nearest cave with bats. And third, they can sleep in the car. Which option would be the safest for them? Sleeping in the car is a bad idea. Vampires can sneak up on them in the middle of the night. A night in a cave is also a bad option. Vampires can hide among these bats. The safest option is to keep driving. Although they'll probably meet vampires, they have a chance to survive if they drive faster. They drove really fast and managed to reach the city by the morning. But when they got out of the car, they discovered they were surrounded by vampires. To escape, they need to choose one of 3 roads. On the first road, there's a pack of vampires. They're coming straight at the guys. There are wild hogs on the second road. The third road leads through a dark alley with hundreds of bats. Which of these 3 ways is the safest? The second way is the best option because the sun illuminates it, so vampires can't follow Nikki and her new friends. Plus, these dogs don't look too unfriendly. The guys reach 3 stores. Now they need to decide which of the stores is safe to enter. Nikki, Peter, and Becky look through the windows to see what's inside. The first store is empty, but it seems to be full of traps. The second store is full of survivors, but they look dangerous. And the third store seems empty as well, but it's completely dark there, and you can't see anything except for dozens of bats. Where should Nikki lead her friends? The first store is the safest. If Nikki, Peter, and Becky notice these traps, then the chances are high they'll be able to avoid them. It's worth a try. There's a man in the city who's trying to survive by hiding among vampires. Nikki spent a week photographing vampires to figure out who he was. Will you be able to see who is actually human in these photos? You can see this man has all 4 photos. In one of the photos, he's eating garlic bread, and in this one, his leg is exposed to the sun. He's only pretending to be a vampire. Nikki and the others decided to invite this man to join their group. The man was delighted and said that his name was Douglas. He was a journalist looking for safe places for people. He suggested creating a password that only humans could figure out. They came up with this one: HAWUH. Can you guess why? If you look at the reflection of this word in the mirror, you will see Huwan, or Huwan. Flip the letter W and you get the word human. But only those who get reflected in the mirror will be able to solve this puzzle. Nikki and her friends settle down in this town. Can you guess which of these houses belongs to Nikki, in which Peter and Becky live, and in which Douglas has chosen? House number 1 belongs to Peter and Becky. There are 2 bicycles next to it. House number 2 belongs to the journalist. Do you see his equipment? And the remaining house, house number 3, belongs to Nikki. Are you ready to dive into sci-fi madness? Let's go! Somewhere in outer space, a show has just begun on a giant asteroid. A glowing star guy is reading poetry. His viewers are little stone people. The artist is saying beautiful words with passion. He puts his heart and soul into the performance. He's finishing. A shining tear is rolling down his cheek. He bows to the audience, but no one is clapping. In fact, they don't react at all. Why? Because this is outer space. There's no sound here. Somewhere in the vast valleys of Mars, races on rovers are taking place. 5 cars are driving at high speed toward the finish line. 3 racers soon leave the others behind, but only one of them will be the winner. Take a look at the dashboard of each of the drivers. Try to figure out who will be the first to come to the finish line. The speedometer arrow on the first rider's dashboard shows the maximum speed, but he won't win because the fuel indicator is flashing. The second racer seems to be fine.
But look at the mirror. No one is reflected there. The car is moving without a driver. The third driver will win. Each of these 3 friends is going on a journey. They have already packed their suitcases and filled the tanks of their spaceships. This guy says he wants to visit Neptune. That girl is going to check on her friends who live on Mars. This man is flying to Venus. Which of them is lying? Venus is very close to the sun. It's a scorching hot place. And this man is wearing warm clothes. He's probably lying. Show me your hands! The head of the Department of Extraterrestrial Beings screams. 3 detainees are sitting at the table. One of them is not human. Look at their hands. Who do you think is an imposter from another planet? Yeah, this guy has 6 fingers, but there are people on Earth who have such hands. Look at this girl. She has shining green eyes. Apparently, she's not from our planet. 3 wanderers are walking on the dark side of the moon. They're tired and lost. Fortunately, a rescue spaceship spots them. The travelers beg to take them on board, but there is only one seat. The first wanderer carries a heavy box with meteorite rocks. He's tired and can no longer walk with this load. The second guy carries nothing, but he looks sick. The third wanderer says he's exhausted because he's extremely thirsty. He hasn't drank for 2 days. Who really needs help? Gravity is much weaker on the moon than on Earth, so the first wanderer's box should be quite light. He just pretends to be tired. The third wanderer has a chance to get some water. Do you see a small rescue station in the distance? H2O is written on it, so he can find water there. But the second wanderer really needs help. The indicator on his spacesuit signals a low oxygen level. The inhabitants of Planet Quest love adventures. Their favorite place is a dangerous park on a desert planet near a black hole. So one guy named Lup goes there. He needs to try to survive there for 1 week. As soon as he arrives at the park, he comes across a space cockroach that has 6 heads. The cockroach jumps on Lup and bites him with one of its heads. Lup fights off the monster and gets back to the ship. The bite is venomous, but fortunately, Lup has an antidote. First, he needs to drink 1 pill that contains medicine, and after that, a catalyst that activates the cure. Then, Lup needs to repeat it 2 hours later. But the problem is the pills with the medicine and catalyst look similar, and Lup has mixed them in his pocket. He can't take 4 tablets at once because it's dangerous, so how can he separate them? Lup needs to crush all the pills and divide the powder into 2 equal parts. One is for now, and the other he'll swallow 2 hours later. There will be the same amount of catalyst and antidote in each part. You're on planet Veveki, in the Purple Pencil Nebula. Right now you're wandering through a dark forest. The trees are covered with pieces of toilet paper instead of leaves. You know you have company in the woods, a werewolf. You come to a rocky cliff and see 3 bridges leading to the other side of the forest. There are people on every bridge. Which one is the werewolf? It can be anybody, but it doesn't matter. No one can turn into a werewolf since there's no full moon here. This is not Earth, remember? A dwarf planet illuminates the sky. Welcome to the moon again. Right now, you witness the most incredible jumping competition. Thanks to the weak gravity on Earth's natural satellite, athletes can jump really high. But which of them will jump the highest? The participants put on their spacesuits and walk out of the atmospheric station. They seem to be ready. 3, 2, 1, jump! And we see the winner. She's jumped much higher than her opponents. But wait, there's something wrong here. This participant is not worthy of the title of the winner. She cheated. But how did you understand that? It's a hologram. All the participants left footprints on the ground after jumping and landing. But this girl has left no traces, which means she's not real. On the shore of Molten Gum, far away from the village of Talking Stones, there's a big house. This building is different from all others in this neighborhood since it exists in two-dimensional space. The owner is a rich architect, Mr. Ali Lee Bulb, who has just woken up after a 90,000-second nap. He finds a broken diamond banana in the kitchen. Mr. Ali Lee Bulb gets angry and calls everyone who was in the house while he was sleeping. He's going to find out who broke his amazing piece of jewelry. Big closed eye, cardboard giraffe with glasses, and three-headed pelican come into the living room.
Tell me who broke the banana.
Mr. Ali Lee Bulb says, "I didn't do that. I was visiting rich old people in their dreams," Big closed eye tells him.
I was watching the Liquid Laughter 3D movie in the living room all this time,
The giraffe says.
I have no idea who I am and what's going on here. I haven't touched your banana,
said one of the pelican's heads. Mr. Ali Lee Bulb immediately realizes who's lied to him. And you? It's Cardboard Giraffe. He couldn't watch a 3D movie since the house only exists in 2 dimensions. It happened on a dark night on a purple planet. A fluffy snake crawled into the house where a purple guy was sleeping. It bit him, and the purple guy decided to go to a hospital. He told the doctor everything. She looked at the guy attentively and told him the snake hadn't been venomous. How did she know that? It was 3:45 a.m. on the clock in the guy's room. Now it's 11:45 p.m. on the clock in the examination room. The purple guy has spent almost a day trying to get to the hospital. So far, nothing bad has happened to him, which means the snake was not poisonous. The king of a tiny planet has no heirs. But then, who will become the ruler of this world? To choose the best candidate, the king gives every inhabitant 1 seed. Whoever grows the most beautiful flower will get the planet, the king tells them. Come back in 2 months. 2 months later, everyone came back with beautiful flowers. Among hundreds of candidates, there was one girl with an empty pot, and her brother with the most beautiful flower. The king said they would rule the planet. Why them? All the seeds were fake, and the girl didn't want to deceive the king by replacing the seed. Meanwhile, her brother put a lot of effort into growing the most beautiful plant to achieve his goal. Rain falls upward in this world, cars move backward, broken glass repairs itself, pens erase words from paper, chickens hide back in the egg at the end of their life. So you get it, time runs backward here. But something is wrong in this world. What is it? Try to look beyond the picture you've just seen before answering. The correct answer is my voice. It's not reversed. Space monsters are chasing you inside an abandoned space station somewhere at the edge of a faraway galaxy. They're stretching their toothy tentacles towards you. Fortunately, you manage to jump into a rescue ship and get out of there. Suddenly, you realize that the ship has no brakes. There's an asteroid belt to your left. A small black hole is on the right, and a red star is in the middle. Which way should you choose? None of these. Don't forget that you can also fly up or down. You're in outer space. It's raining diamonds every day on this planet. The rays of the closest star that warms this world contain gold particles. Banknotes grow on trees. Seas glow green because the water is filled with emeralds. Despite all this wealth, people don't want to live here. Why? Gold particles in the air can damage human lungs within seconds. Money trees don't produce oxygen, and there are no fish in the water because of the emeralds. People simply can't exist there.